Hi everyone, welcome to WW Designs. My name is Nikki and today I have a really budget-friendly DIY. We are going to make some Christmas tags that you can use on people's presents, and if you have some magazines in your stash, you can use those. Or if you have lots of scrapbooking supplies, there is no reason why you can't just use some of those. But you all know, if you've been following my channel for any length of time, I love playing with magazines and finding fun ways to use them to create something very pretty. So I've started off with some packaging. I've got ice creams and this was a slide off cover thing on a meal. And the reason why I like keeping some of these packaging is because I love the back. So I like instead of stark white, I just quite like this, especially if you're making vintagey looking things. This is fabulous, but I just tend to keep boxes that have this. I do find quite often the ones with white inside have this slick sort of coating on it, which I don't really like. These are all very matte, so perfect for grabbing a pen and writing. So let's do some crafting. So I'm going to start with the absolutely simplest one. So of course, all my gluing will be going down onto the coloured side to leave that blank. And this was a leftover scrap from another one I did, and I thought, well, why can't I turn that into a tag? So all you have to do is find yourself a Christmassy image. I found this one and thought, I don't know where else I'd use it, but how about we do some gluing and turn this into a pretty tag? But these are all very simple, but I'm just, I'll start with the absolute easiest, and then the other ones are not difficult. They just require a little bit more effort, but not much. This will be fun and simple. Do this on a rainy day, or when you just feel like crafting and want to do something maybe a little bit festive, this would be perfect. So my aim is to have this pretty close to the edge. I will trim it up, but I don't want to lose, that's it. I want to sort of not really lose this main bauble here, because that's sort of the mainstay of this image. And then all we have to do, providing we don't throw things around, is just tidy it up. Now, the reason I cut it bigger than what I needed it, in the hope that when I've glued it down, I will end up with it well glued on the edges. If you try and sort of cut it to the exact size before you glue it down, you often have to muck around doing edges, and I don't like doing that. I prefer to do it this way. Just get rid of that. Okay, see, perfect. I managed to save that entire bauble. This one not so much, but that's okay. That's my main focus piece. Now, I did go through my stash, and some of the decoration will obviously not be done with magazines. I just happen to have a huge stash, was happy to try and use some of it up. So I'm thinking I would like to add, how long's that? Yep, that should fit. I think this little season's greetings would work very nicely. And it should just fit nicely down on the bottom. So if we just stick that down. Beautiful. Then we're going to flip this over. We're going to grab a pencil and just bullseye roughly where I want to punch my hole. I find sometimes if I don't put a little mark, I end up way off where I want to be. So I cheat a little bit and do it that way. And then I've got some simple white cord here. Now, how long do I want this to be? About that long, I think, because we want to have a little bit of room to, tie something off. And I picked this white cord because there was sort of a bit of white down there, and I thought, that's okay, we'll keep all that together. And then we're just going to flip that through. And that is officially done, but I do get a bit extra sometimes. I do think we could do with a little bit of glitter on this. So what I'm going to do is grab my glue and I'm going to put a little line of glue here. Couple of lines there. I won't do the far side, and I'm going to do those two centers. I might leave it at that. Now I'm just going to grab a piece of copy paper, which I should have grabbed before, and I'm just going to, I've got some nice gold glitter here, but I hate getting these tops off. Then we're just going to sprinkle some of this on and not touch it for a while, and then later on, when it's had time to dry, I will dust all that off and we can check out the final progress. But that one, incredibly simple. I think anybody can manage one of those. Now, the next one, also not difficult. I've just got to find the right piece. This is my scrap. So the next one, we're going for a very neutral sort of look. So what I did, I found this was going through my stash looking for borders, okay? So this is where any magazine, especially like, Better Homes and Gardens and things like that, they often have pictures of rooms and then there's background bits. So I've gone for neutrals, very simple. We're going to glue these down. Of course, I couldn't find one piece big enough to cover the whole thing, but I went, that's okay. We can just use 3 different ones. They will sort of all blend together quite nicely. And to give myself a straight cutting edge, what I'm doing here is I've put the glue on, when I place this down, I'm going to use the actual edge from the base, from the magazine. So that way it'll give me a nice straight edge to follow when I trim this up. And I don't want that dark bit. So let's move this down a little bit. And we can just give this a gentle press. Now this next one, this one is going in the center, so it doesn't actually matter. Oh, my glue stick. My bit's fallen out. I better grab another one. Hang on a minute. Oh, I think that one's empty too. Sorry, guys. I do have a few here, thankfully. Found another one. That one is right at the end. So we'll just flip over to this one. And we'll just pop that down there. That a gentle press too, to get that nice and smooth. And then in the last one, I'm going to do the same and put the magazine edge part, excuse me, I don't need that bit of rubbish, along here so we can cut that quite straight too. Where's my card? There we go. Okay, so what we're going to do, I'll flip this over to do the back. Voila, and now we can trim up the edges. And I don't have to get a ruler or anything out. This will be pretty straight now because the magazine page at the base is straight. Okay, and then we might cut this, just put a little corner do the corners on this one just to make it tag shaped. Of course, you don't have to do this. There's no reason why they can't just be a rectangle like the last one. You can use a corner rounder too if you'd like them to have softer corners. I always struggle to do this with my long nails. There we go. Let's just move those aside. Now, the next thing I found, and that's why I picked the neutral base, was this very cute stocking, including the hook, which I fussy cut out. So let's get some glue on this. Now, we're going to be very gentle here because I don't want to damage that hook if I can avoid it, because it is very flimsy, but I thought it was very cute. And I'm going to put this over to the side. Now, the reason why I'm doing that is so when I put my hole in, you don't lose the hook, because I think the hook is really cute. And just sort of almost looks like it's a photo done exactly like that, which I thought was great. And then I also was very lucky and found this cute little Merry Christmas on not the same page, but one of the pages. So I think we can add that. And I might just, no, we might put it in there, I think. You don't have to add a sentiment. I won't be adding a sentiment to all of mine. But if I sort of came across something that I thought was really suitable. Oh, Nikki, look what she's done. You've probably already all picked up on this, that she glued on the wrong side. Okay, so thankfully this is an easy fix. Oh, we need some paper, and we're going to have to cover the back. Yes, that will cover it. So don't panic if you do silly things like Nikki has just done. No, yes, that should be big enough. It's okay. We all make mistakes. And I find, especially when I'm doing videos, you're sort of always concentrating on all the things you have to do. And then, of course, you do what I just did. Anyway, thankfully, it's easy to fix. You can glue any sort of paper on the back. But especially seeing this one is very neutral coloured, I think I want to use the same sort of colour tones. So just lining that up a little bit. Oh, Nikki. Anyway, it's all good. I didn't line that up very well, but too bad. So just remember, if you make a mistake, there's always a solution. You can cover over it. Now, the other thing I thought I might do with this one is I might ink the edges a little bit. See, we've sort of gone, oops. Okay, so I thought with this one, I might even ink the edge a little bit and sort of go truly a little bit vintage, but not too much. Just a nice gentle tap. So I've got Vintage Photo, which I think is a great match for this. And I'm not overdoing it. Just a little bit around the edge. I think it just suits this one. There we go. That was, oh, hang on, did I do down here? Have now. There we go. Put that aside. Now we can flip this over. Oh, hang on, we need to just gently do this edge. It's not clean. Right, there we go. Then roughly into the center, a little guide dot, I should say. Okay, so we've rescued that one. Now, for this one, I just thought a piece of natural coloured cord would be ideal. So we're going to do the same thing, if we can get it through, which we can. There we go. Before we pull it, we just even those up a little bit. Okay, so I think we're just going to leave that one like that. Again, this is incredibly simple, just using magazine pages. So the next one. Now, not everybody likes traditional Christmas colours, so we're going to go a little bit bold and bright with this one. So we're going to put this down the correct way. Silly Nikki, honestly. And we're going to add some glue. Put this on the right way. Actually, I'm going to go, there's a little nick in that, so I'll go a little bit further south so we don't have that. It won't matter if I cut this a tiny bit shorter for this one, but I don't like that bit down there. This was a piece I got out of a Frankie magazine. It has absolutely nothing to do with Christmas, but that doesn't matter. It was the colour I was after. I wanted something for the background that had pink or green in it, and that's what I managed to find. So that is what we're using. So now we just have to add our little tree. This is actually a sugar cookie, which I thought was very cute. And was nice and bright, so we can just pop that down there. Next, I went through my stash and I found a hot pink star, which I think is perfect for the top of our tree. So just place a little bit of glue. This is my Helmer's Tiger glue. You're probably sick of me always telling you, but at least that way you know. Oh, maybe this way around. There we go. We have a cute star at the top of our tree now. Now, the next thing we're going to do, I decided I had to use this lime green ribbon. So we do this a little bit differently because it's a thick ribbon. I like to do it this way. I grab a craft knife, actually, I'll do it this way round. And then you need a metal ruler. You can use a plastic one, but you do risk ending up cutting into your ruler, and we want to try and avoid that. So all I'm going to do here is, oh no, that's because I didn't let it dry. Okay, that didn't work. It's okay, we all have to come up with a solution for that. But that's my fault because I didn't let this dry. So here, if you want to do this, it works really well, but only if you actually let it dry. So here we go. We have another little issue that we need to take care of. Now, I had this cute sticker and I wasn't going to use it, but I'm wondering if I should now. That would cover things up, wouldn't it? All right, first of all then, let's get this ribbon through here. shimmy it through. Never thought about that. And then we are going to add a tiny dob here. And a tiny dot here. This will just stop the ribbon from pulling through. We just let that sit for a minute. Okay, so while I was waiting for the star to dry, I decided to round the corners, just for the heck of it, and then decided at the last minute I didn't like that green star because it had the hole in it. I went, no, that's not for me. So I grabbed this cute little fluorescent pink bow that I had in my stash and glued that down, but of course I forgot to hit record. But never mind, it's okay. You can see I've glued it down. Now, I've got one more little thing I want to trim this with. I found these in my stash, and I thought they looked a little bit like these cute little icing confetti pieces. I think we should add a few of them. So I'm going to just add a few in here. Now, I have never used these. I don't know how easy they are to get off and get on. Let's just see if I can pick them up with tweezers or whether I need to. No, I might have to use my finger. They are quite sticky, but I never trust the glue on these things. I always add them with some glue. So I won't make you watch me gluing all of these down. I'm going to add a few and I'll come back and show you what it looks like when it's done. So it's a little bit of a tedious task gluing all these down, but I think it does look really cute. So that's the third one done. Now for number 4, we are going to place our cardboard up the correct way. And what I've done is cut all these little strips. Now these are all from backgrounds, and we're going pastels this time. We just did bright, so now let's go pastel. And we are just going to glue all these down. And I don't care about the edges because I will be cutting it into a different shape. So we're just going to glue this down. The only one that sort of really matters that it goes the whole way across is this bottom one. But then after that, it makes no difference if you're a little short. So I've gone for, you know, I've got a little bit of gold sparkle on this one. And we're not going to glue them dead straight either. We're going to put a little bit of angle on it, have some fun. You'll see what I mean when it's done. This also saves you from worrying about getting it dead straight. This is the cheats way of avoiding that. What do we want next? Yeah, this one. Some of these pieces have absolutely nothing to do with Christmas, and that's fine too. You could easily do this with completely just sort of neutral pieces, or pick a particular colour that you like. I just thought I'd do pastel for something different to the others, but you can use whatever you've got. And of course, everything will now have gold glitter on it somewhere. because we've been playing with glitter. I'll be washing it off my hands for days. You wait and see. Just picking it up to make sure it's not sticking too much. And lucky last, we'll finish with the same one. Okay, then what we're going to do is we're going to flip this over, and we need our pencil and a ruler, and this is roughly 8 centimeters across, so we want to mark the 4 centimeter mark. And then we're going right down to the corner, drawing that in. And the same on the other side, and guess what? We are making a Christmas tree shape. Now, we just have to, I've got this little bit of excess down the bottom here. And now we cut this out. And I'm just going to try and cut on the inside of my pencil mark, but of course we can easily erase this if necessary. Voila, how cute is that? Now, what you could also do is trim these off. I just thought about this. Does it work? You could trim them off and make another one. We could do that, but let's not worry about that at the moment. That was not the initial plan. So now we have this very cute Christmas tree. You could add some little stars or something to it, completely up to you, but I might keep this one a little bit plain. And I have just a nice piece of cream ribbon here, which we're going to cut a bit off. Just miter that corner a bit too to reduce fraying. Now, I think instead of cutting a hole in this, I might just glue this on like that. Now this is quite thin ribbon. The glue should come the whole way through, and I just want to try and put it down so it sits at the width of the top of the tree. Not that it really matters because you won't be seeing that. Actually, I'll just add a bit of extra glue here just in case it sort of doesn't hold. And then we are going to add a little timber star to the top of this one. I found this in my stash too, and I thought it was perfect. Just turn that around. And we just have to hold this for a few minutes and it will be dry. Just a little bit of patience. So for now, I can put that one aside. Oh, I can't decide whether I want little gold stars on that one or not. Leave that for just a moment while I contemplate that. And we're going to get on to the next one. All right, so here's some baking paper, just in case we have glue overspill. And I've done the same thing. I've cut a heap of strips. And all I did was hunt for red, green, and I even sort of got a little bit of, it's meant to be gold. It's a little bit neutral, but that's by the by. And we're going to do a little bit of weaving. Now, my eventual outcome for this is to cut it into a circle. So I'm not going to stress about weaving under and over from the top bit. I'm just going to keep things very simple. And we're going to dab on a bit of this glue. And I have cut some longer and some shorter for the cross ones. And I'm just going to glue them down, alternating them a little bit. As I said, I don't care about the top row because none of that will actually become part of this. All right, next one. I'm leaving just a tiny little bit of wiggle room for when we weave through and under. Nope, that's a cross one. That's not long enough. Let's grab this one here. Now, other than the colours, there is nothing Christmassy about this, so use whatever you can find in your magazine. What do we need? Green. I think we'll use for this last bit. Okay. There we go. And then we are just going to weave some of these shorter ones through. Nudge it up to the top. Just a little bit of glue to help hold this in place. It might be easier if I do this upside down, actually. Don't need glue on that bit. Okay, next we'll go green. So now of course we're doing the alternates. So just a tiny dab of glue. This is just to hold it all together. You'll see later how I intend to do this. So it's just a little bit of glue to hold things together. I've got a couple of different shades of red here. Now we need to alternate, so the ones that are sticking up need the dab of glue, the others do not. Right, to save you the tedium of having to watch me weave all that through, I have finished it and let it dry for just a little while. Then what we're going to do is we're going to grab our base and we're going to glue it the correct way, of course, and not make that same mistake again. So apply a generous amount of glue. And the aim of this, of course, is to get this glue down on here, but also to give us a nice firm edge when I cut this out. So we just place that on there like that, pressing it down. Oh, oops, and then of course we pressed a little too hard, but that's okay. This is very flimsy, so it would have been nicer if this paper had been a little firmer, but I'm trying to use magazines, not thick paper, so it is what it is. We just have to let that dry, and don't worry, we can cut around this and make it all look fine. Just got to be very gentle when you're using magazine papers that are not thick. I think this was mainly from a Better Homes and Gardens, so you know, it's a little glossy and a little flimsy, but there's always a way around it because you can stick things on top. So we're just going to let that dry, and then I'm going to cut it out into a circle. So I'm going to use my die cut machine for that. If you don't have a die cut machine, you can use a cup, a small plate, a compass, whatever you like to cut out a circular shape. Okay, so I've cut out my circle, and I do have one annoying little lump there. I managed to avoid using the little torn bit, and this you won't see. So you can you do have to be a little bit careful if you're using magazine images rather than cardstock, but you can still do it, and I think it looks really cute. And I found this fabulous little piece in a magazine. So we are going candy cane theme for this. And I'm going to put that about there. There we go. Very cute. Then I also found in my stash this packet of puffy stickers, which I've never used. I think I got given them in a swap, so I've had them for a little while, but there's some cute candy canes in it. So I thought we could add a couple of those. I'd like one down here, and just always adding a little bit of glue, because I'd never trust things like this to actually stick. Then we can add another one down here. And then we might add one of the single ones up here. Thankfully, this glue does dry beautiful and clear, even though it's white now, but it does make it easy to use, and it will end up lovely and clear. Excellent. So they're down. Then I have some seam binding here. Now, do we want red or green? Thinking green might win this one, because we've got red very dominant in the middle. That's just the sort of way it worked out. So let's cut off a piece of this, and we're going to think we will put a hole in this one. So what I need is my pencil so we can weave it through, and we want roughly about here. It's so dull here today, I can barely see where I put that mark, but I've got it. Then we'll just weave this little piece through. We'll cheat and do it this way. This is the easiest way to get ribbon through. Honestly, instead of spending hours trying to get it to go through. So there we have our tie. And I will do the same thing again. I'm going to put a little bit of glue here just so this ribbon doesn't fall out. And then, because I decided this should look a bit like a bauble, I got some gold glitter cardstock and I just cut a little square out and rounded the top so we can make this look a little bit like a bauble. It's not going to quite, I can't really put it right at the top. So it's going to go down a bit because I want it to sort of cover over that ribbon. But I think you can definitely tell what I've done here, even though it's a little technically incorrect. But I just think if you just glue it up on top of the ribbon, it will just end up a bodgy mess. So there we go. We have a bauble one. So these 5 easy tags are done. There's our blue one. And I've dusted away all the excess glitter, but we've got some lovely shine on that one. Then we've got our very neutral one. This is great for, this sort of style is great for people that, you know, want to recycle and don't want all things glitzy and tizzy. Then we go the complete opposite, very bright with sparkly gem sprinkles. Very classic and simple pastel coloured tree, and then of course our cute little candy cane bauble one. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it's given you some ideas. If you do make any of these things, please tag me on Instagram at WW Design Studio. I'd love to see what you make, but these are basically very simple, and I hope you might put your magazines to good use with these pretty little Christmas things. So if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you have any questions, pop them down in the comments box below. I'd love to hear. And until next time, stay safe and stay healthy. And thank you very much for watching.